Sir, thanks for joining us today on Leadership Log, which is a podcast for the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center community on topics of interest. And today we want to learn about volunteer victim advocates. So, sir, if you could introduce yourself to the audience and let us know a little bit about your Air Force career and your background.
Okay. Yeah, I am Captain Odis Tucci. I've been in for about 19 years now. I came in because of September 11th. Came in open general enlisted originally, and Air Force thought it'd be best if I be a mechanic. So started out my career as a mechanic out on the flight line. Later transitioned after about 7 years to become a Predator MQ-1 sensor operator. Later qualified to be an MQ-9 sensor operator, and after about 14 years enlisted, I ended up commissioning to be an officer, and I'm a finance officer now. Throughout my career, I've been deployed to different locations, Iraq and Afghanistan, and served in Syria and all over Africa. And just looking forward to this kind of new job I have doing finance and the Lifecycle Management Center, learning kind of what puts the Air Force together and gives them the tools they need to be successful in the operational side.
So you're also a volunteer victim advocate. Can you tell us what that means and and why you decided to volunteer for that?
Okay, yeah, I am a volunteer victim advocate. I've been doing that for maybe just over a year and a half. And it kind of started about 3 years ago. I was the exec at the 88th Air Base wing for the wing commander and vice wing commander. And in that role, the SARC, that's over the entire sexual assault and prevention program, has to go directly through them, as that's who her supervisor is. So anytime there's an incident, they have to get in touch with them within 24 hours, just as a notification kind of process. And just seeing how passionate they were, and the term duty hours, even though much of that office is civilian, that doesn't apply to that. They're very passionate about taking care of people and doing whatever they need to help an individual get through that kind of crisis in their life. And so that really kind of sparked it for me. And my background, I've got a bachelor's and a master's in theological studies, and so kind of that I guess more compassionate side of a person, like we see in the resiliency side that the Department of Defense and especially the Air Force tries to institute to be there for people. It was just kind of a natural path, seeing what they were able to do for people, and that really interests me.
Yeah, so when we're talking about the sexual assault response coordinator, this is someone who gives immediate need assistance to people who have been victimized and really need help.
Yeah, that's correct. And it's 24/7. The phone never shuts off. So anytime someone wants to talk to someone, or they physically need to meet up, that office makes it happen with themselves as full-time folks. And they have a full-time victim advocate as well, and volunteer victim advocates that hold a 24/7 phone. And so, we understand the significance of time, and when someone's going through something that doesn't apply right then and there, if that's what they need, that's what we make happen.
Mm-hmm. And so what does the volunteer victim advocate do, really?
The volunteer victim advocate can perform a lot of different duties. Primarily, our job is to be there when someone calls in for the first time, and then staying with that person through the entire process. And that can go all the way to them PCS into another base, them separating the Air Force. It's a huge commitment. It's a relationship at that point. And so that is the primary role, is to respond. But we also play a role in the prevention and daily operations. So we can go over to the main SARC office. We can answer telephones and keep the daily operations going. We can do briefings at ALS, newcomers briefings about the prevention, but then educate people on where the resources are. And that goes beyond just SARC resources, but all the resiliency pillars, in case that's what someone would feel more comfortable with.
Mhm. So, I mean, at its core, it's taking care of your fellow airmen, really.
That is what it's all about, and it's not just, little a, Aaron, it's big A. So it's the total force, it's the Guard, the reserves, it's the GS and the active duty military. So it encompasses everything.
Mhm. What are some kinds of training that you get, and what type of credentialing do you hold that allows you to help assist victims?
Yeah, we go through a week-long training, but in order to even be accepted into the program, you're vetted. There's an application process to make sure that you're a good fit for the program, obviously. If you do get accepted, you go through that week-long training, which is, all day,
Mhm.
intensive, basically. You run through, obviously not every scenario, but every one of the main things that you would need to do. You run over the legalities, the other resources that are available to us, like counsel and chaplains and stuff like that. But then you have ongoing training. So you have to renew that certification that you would get at the end of that course every 2 years. And you do that through having a minimum hour of education and training or hands-on in classroom environment. It could even be virtually if necessary for all the different things. So when you do volunteer and you do things like setting up the briefings and briefing people, that goes to your credentials, because they want to make sure that you didn't get the original training and then you kind of life got in the way and you're maybe needing to go through the whole entire refresher again if you don't meet
Mhm.
that minimum requirement. And that all leads to your DoD certification in order to serve in this role.
Um, so, what do you like the most about being a volunteer victim advocate?
Uh, I like the piece from the setup that the Department of Defense prioritizes and realizes the importance of a system like this. Um, we don't have a lot of things like this when you look at just traditional civilian world. It's kind of, you just get paid to do your job, and if life gets in the way, then you need to figure it out in order to continue to work there. Where the Department of Defense, the Air Force puts a priority on making sure that if we take care of you, then you can take care of the mission. And things don't always go as planned. I mean, no one ever thinks that they're going to be sexually assaulted. And so when they're in a position like that, it changes your entire outlook, and it's really hard to focus sometimes. And everyone reacts to everything differently. But for me, I enjoy the most that when someone's going through this situation, it is most likely the worst situation they've ever had in their life to that point. And being there for that person during that time and realizing that you will make a difference. And just thankful to be there for someone, because you never know when you'll need help. And it's not always going to be in a situation like this, but it could be anything.
Mhm. Um, so, for those of us in organizations, lay people, so to speak, what should we do? What can we do when we see something? See a situation that just doesn't seem to be right.
Okay. I mean, I guess a common scenario would be you're doing an office party or something like that. And not that it can't happen at work, but as we're aware, a lot of things happen outside of work. So maybe you're having an office party and drinks are involved, and you think someone is starting to overstep their bounds or things are getting unprofessional. So that's kind of where the SAPR prevention piece comes in. We want to stop things before they go too far and everyone has regrets or pain from that situation. So if you see something happen, obviously you want to distract at that point. You want to intervene and distract And at that point, you're trying to get someone else that has a level-headed mind to come in and help you delegate with that situation and really direct the attention and get everyone to move on and move away from there. If you think it's getting too far, you always remove the person from that environment. And that's all about looking for those general cues that obviously someone isn't comfortable. And even if they seem comfortable, anytime, a substance is involved, they're maybe not thinking in clear mind. So it's probably best to just break that up.
Mm-hmm. But essentially, you got to take some sort of action. I mean, you can't just, let it pass by or watch it go by or something like that. But you have to stand up and do something, to take some action to prevent it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of, through previous SAPR trainings that we've all taken in the past for the Air Force. Some people are quite reserved. And if you're one of those people and you see something going on, you need to go get with another wingman and bring them involved. And there's nothing wrong with that. But like you said, you have to do something. The worst thing you could do is stand by and let something like that snowball into an actual sexual assault potentially.
Right. So if someone needs to get help, what is the best way for them to go find that support?
Obviously, we're talking, SAPR, and so it's really the SAPR office and the SARC. I mean, it's the best place that's utilized, that knows how to handle this situation. We understand that not everyone's comfortable going with the SARC, but there is 100% confidentiality if you go straight to the SARC before you go anywhere else. So that's why we always recommend, calling the SAPR hotline, which at Wright-Patt is 937-257-7272. And no matter what installation you're at, typically the last four of the prefix spells SARC. So it's an easy way to remember it. That's the best way, is to get in touch with the on-call 24/7 and find out, what are your options and what can you get help, and we'll guide you through that. And there's no pressure. It's just telling the, victim, this is what's available to you, and whatever they want and need in that bucket is what we're willing to offer. And at any time, we offer all the other services and we liaison for them, whether it's the chaplain, mental health, or they want to come forward and they want to get their chain of command involved afterwards. But we always recommend coming to the SARC first, so that way all your options are still open.
Yep. All right. Well, sir, I appreciate your time today on Leadership Log. Is there anything that you'd like to add, or anything that we've left out?
Yeah, actually, it is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So I'm glad we're getting to reach up for this podcast right now. And I hope that everyone knows that you're appreciated for what you do, and we're here to serve you. And it's made such an impact on me being a volunteer victim, and helping individuals, that I actually just applied and was accepted to be the deputy SARC at Wright-Patt this winter cycle. So I'm going to be full-time over there in that office. And if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, congratulations, and thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you.